Okay, good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to the first ever Heavy Chef show. Sadly, we are not a cooking show, and I am not Nigella, but we are rad. Heavy Chef is a platform for people that do, and it comes from the phrase, never trust a skinny chef. With us in studio, we have a very prominent doer, Mr. Craig Rodney. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the power of passion projects.
Yes.
So let's start with, what do you do on a daily basis?
So I'm what they'd call semi-retired. So I recently left my job of 15 years. I ran a small marketing business, and now I'm pretty much a stay-at-home dad. Look after two young kids, take care of the house, cook dinners.
Don't give my partner any ideas here, please.
No. So yeah, my wife is very career-oriented. So she's gone and she's working full-time. She's doing amazing stuff, and it affords me the opportunity to kind of stay at home, spend time with my kids, and work on my passion projects.
That's awesome. I like the reverse role. Very 21st century.
It suits me as well.
So talking about passion projects,
yes.
Can you give us what you define a passion project to do? It is subjective. We're looking for your take.
Yeah, to me, a passion project is something that gives you energy as opposed to taking away energy. So it's something that you can go to, not necessarily a full-time job. I believe it's something that's on the side that you can kind of sneak away to, but it's very personal to you. It's something that really speaks to you, that helps you kind of realize who you are, whether you're creating something or producing something or changing the world in some way, solving a tough problem. But at the end of the day, it's something that makes you feel better about yourself, and hopefully at the end of the day, enables you to create something to contribute to the world, to make the world a better place.
So you wouldn't define reading as a passion project, something passive?
No, I think
in your mind, does it need to have an output? You know?
Yes, there's a lot of people who have passions that that don't produce any outputs, right? And that's okay. Like I'm not here to knock that side of things. For me, a passion project is about creating something. So where something didn't exist, you bring something to life. You create something that you can contribute to the world, or whatever it is. But I do believe that it's about production and not consumption.
Awesome. Okay, that defines it for us. And in your mind, making money and a passion project, are they mutually exclusive? What are the risks in pairing the two?
So you can absolutely turn a passion project into a revenue stream. For my passion project, I don't. I keep them completely separate. And the reason I keep them separate is that as soon as you introduce a revenue stream, you introduce the kind of the allure of making money out of this thing, and you start realizing, or you start making decisions that are revenue focused and not passion focused, right? And the problem is making money and doing the right thing are often completely opposed.
Because you're bossed around by someone.
Well, yeah, essentially, the moment you accept money for something, you're also accepting that the person paying you has a right to impact on the project that you're working on, that they have a say. And even if they don't, even if you structure it in such a way that you take their money still to do what you want to do, the fact that there's money on the table, the fact that you know there's an opportunity to make money out of something will start to impact in your mind. So I'm not against it. By all means, if you can make money out of your passion project, do it. But just be aware of the risks, that it can become less of a passion project and more of a passion killer.
Sure, makes a lot of sense. And with that in mind, can you tell us how you got your passion project? You know, it obviously wasn't something that landed on your head, or maybe it was.
No, so I, as I said earlier, I've been running a business for 15 years now. I have an unhealthy obsession with Instagram. I absolutely love the platform.
Awesome.
I love photography. I love visual storytelling. And so 3 years ago, I realized that I wanted to do something on Instagram. I wanted a passion project. I needed something that brought energy into my life, that kind of that gave me an opportunity to do something that was just mine, that was only for me. And so I went onto Instagram and I was like, I wanted to combine Instagram storytelling with my love for South Africa. And so I decided I'm going to start an Instagram account that profiles as many beautiful photos of South Africa as I possibly could. And so I went and looked and managed to get my hands on the @SouthAfrica username, which is quite handy, I must say. And that's it. I started posting photos every day. And
you have a really beautiful story about how you got the @SouthAfrica Instagram account. Can you please share that with us?
Obviously it's a highly in-demand username, and it was registered by a young American lady in November 2010, so same month that Instagram launched. She was on holiday in South Africa, so she registered it, but she wasn't doing anything with it. She posted a couple of pictures of nail polish and a couple of selfies, and it really wasn't doing South Africa justice. So I posted a comment on her most recent photo and said, I want to do this project. would you consider letting me use this username? And she came back to me and gave me the account. She
so
said,
you didn't have to pay for it?
Didn't pay for it. She said,
Not a
here's the
cent.
username, here's the password, I've changed the email address, I've deleted my photos. And then she ended off by saying, make me proud, which
Wow.
was very cool. Also a bit of a curse,
Yeah.
I must say, because now I'm highly driven around making sure that I always make her proud. But it
Yeah.
was actually very cool. It set a bit of a north star for me around what to do with the account.
Yeah.
And I've maintained true to that.
Awesome. And have you been in contact with her since? Does she follow you? Does she comment?
She doesn't. I don't know if she follows. I don't know if she comments. But we've had a few email exchanges since she handed over the account. I checked in with her a few times. She is proud. Yes, I do
Awesome.
know that she is. She told me that she loves that I'm putting kind of a good face on South Africa for the world to see.
So that's your KPI. It's to meet her, like, do me proud.
I think, yeah, and I think one day I will actually get to meet her. I think it'll be quite cool.
That would be a beautiful story. It really would, you know. She takes over,
tie it all together.
Yeah,
you know?
bring it back to the start.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So what, like, when you look at your account, what are the first 3 emotions that come to mind when you look at it yourself?
Pride.
Awesome.
I'm really proud of having built that account. If nothing else, there's almost 2,000 photos on the account already.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, it's just a collection, a gallery of some of the most amazing photos of our country that have ever existed.
Yeah.
And if someone one day wants to print them all out and fill an entire gallery, it would blow my mind, right?
Okay.
So I'm immensely proud. I'm energized and inspired by it, not just around posting the photos, but I've always been like this international traveler. You know, you've got to go to Barcelona. Have you been to New York and all that kind of stuff? And by running the account, I've become a lot more of an active local traveler, right?
Awesome.
Because I
That's
see these
such a great
photos,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
I see all these photos, and there's pictures of things that I'll share on the account, and I've never been there.
Yeah.
Right, and I said, and you cannot be exposed to that kind of stuff and have your brain not go, you really need to go there, right? And so if it's happening to me and I'm the guy choosing the photos, and it's happening to the people who are consuming these photos every single day, they're getting a little nudge going,
Okay,
hey,
let's try this.
have you been to Mpumalanga lately, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely brilliant. I love that it inspires people to travel.
Awesome. And we're just looking for one more, just the third one.
Fear.
Okay.
And the fear comes from knowing that I am sharing a limited view of South Africa.
Okay.
Right. So I'm all about storytelling. I'm all about sharing amazing, passionate stories about South Africa. But I'm limited in my scope of the stories that I believe I can tell. Right. As a person, as a white middle-aged man, there are certain stories that I can tell. And so I'm fearful of the fact that I'm missing an opportunity by not having a broader range of stories that I'm telling.
Yeah.
And also there's a bit of fear that I'm reinforcing by only kind of sharing the Table Mountain pictures, that I'm reinforcing the image of South Africa that people expect.
Okay.
And I do believe there's an opportunity. So if I can add a fourth, there's optimism, because I believe there's a massive opportunity for not necessarily me, but for the account to start telling a broader range of South Africa stories and start improving the perception that people have, or broadening the perception that people have of the country.
Okay, but I think in saying, you have fear, do you need to listen to that fear when running a passion project, or is it something that's supposed to be inherently selfish in your mind?
So a passion project is absolutely selfish, right? But you can still have fear even though you're acting selfishly. You don't necessarily have to act on it, right?
Okay.
Like I haven't. I reverted back to, you know what, this is my account, it's my passion project. I'm going to stick within the lane that I know makes me happy, that gives me energy every single day, and I'm quite comfortable with that. If it never becomes anything else, tough.
Okay,
it's my project, right?
Awesome.
But there are opportunities, and I think it would be a waste, where the project is now, I think it would be a waste to not take a lot of them.
Okay, guys, we're going to take some questions from Twitter. The first one is from @Louis_JVR. What's the most moving story that has come out of your passion project? Over to you.
So a while back, we did a national Insta meet where I invited every Instagrammer in South Africa to converge on Graaff-Reinet and have 4 days.
Why Graaff-Reinet?
So it was as close to the center of the country as I could find a town that would be able to host us, and is equally inconvenient for everyone to get there. So we put on this event for 4 days, and when we got into town, we had a registration desk, and there was a couple old Afrikaans guys who were from Graaff-Reinet who had registered for the event. And I couldn't believe it, right? They were like dressed in their Sunday best and stuff, and they definitely didn't fit your classic Instagram look, right? But they were on Instagram, they were Graaff-Reinet citizens, and we're like, okay, welcome, you guys are amazing. So at the end of the event, we were chilling after the final event. I was sitting back, kind of taking it all in, and one of the Afrikaans guys came out, and he went up to an Instagram called Uncle Scrooge, who's this huge, like 6'6" black guy.
Scrooge sounds like a rapper.
No, yeah, exactly. He's not. He's definitely not a rapper. But Scrooge is a really big black guy. He had this kind of low peak cap on that said Black Pride. Like he's a gentle giant, but he looks intimidating. So this old Afrikaans guy kind of goes up and he goes, excuse me, are you Uncle Scrooge? And Scrooge goes, yes. And this guy goes, I'm your biggest fan.
Aww,
and Scrooge just went, oh man, and like gave this guy the biggest hug. And then I sat there watching these two guys like tell stories together, and like they were like, Scrooge was like, oh man, I'll follow you on Instagram, and the guy almost passed out, like it was like his big fame moment. But I'm sitting there watching these two guys who would, it would be highly unlikely that they would ever meet and have a conversation. Yeah. I'm watching these two guys spend 30 minutes together, loving each other's company, telling their best stories, giving each other hugs. And I kind of sat there and went, you know what? If the entire passion project comes down to this one moment, I'll take it. Like, if that's all that ever comes out of this, I'll take it.
Did you capture an image of it? It's a mental image. It's just like, you know.
No, and I'm glad I don't have a photo, because I think it would have ruined it. I think while I love photography, like photos tend to condense a lot of stuff into a single image. And I'm glad that I don't know, but the memory is vivid, and I'm never going to lose it. And
are those two guys still on Instagram?
They're still on Instagram, they still interact, they still chat.
Awesome. They're 60, you say 60?
Well, the guy, listen, the Scrooge is probably like early 30s, and the other guy was late 60s for sure.
Awesome. Still residing in Graaff-Reinet, like on Instagram.
Yeah, he is Instagram Graaff-Reinet, basically.
Oh, that is a very sweet story. Very, very sweet. So next up, we're going to be moving on to barriers to passion projects. Why many normal people actually don't start. They don't just do.
So I think there are a number of reasons why people don't start their passion projects. I think a lot of people are scared of failing, right? I think people kind of, the biggest worry that they have is that it fails, right? A lot of people don't do stuff because their biggest worry is that it succeeds, and then it becomes this thing, and then they have to keep doing it and stuff like that. And but fear is one of the big drivers. One of the other big reasons that I've come across a lot is that people believe they need permission to do stuff, right? And I want to dispel that myth. There are certain, when it comes to businesses, there's regulations. You know, you can't just be a doctor like you need. You know, there's a lot of hurdles within jobs and careers and stuff like that. Within most passion projects, you do not need permission from anyone. You just start. Right? When I started the South Africa Instagram account, for the first month, I was convinced that some hawks or some like police guy was going to knock on my door and go, give us the username back, because like because I wasn't allowed to represent South Africa on Instagram, right? But it never happened, right? Like, because I'm allowed to do it, I didn't need permission, right? I needed the username, sure, and the lady happily gave it to me, right? But I think a lot of people sit and they wait as though they need permission. And I want to dispel that myth. You don't need permission to do stuff. Just start, right? There are enough barriers that you're going to come up against as it is. But just start, get to that first barrier, assess it, get past it, get to the next one, and keep going. But you don't need permission.
And in terms of commitment, you know, is this something, if you're really passionate about your passion project, is this something that you need to commit to on a daily basis? Do you need to actually set those time constraints?
I think you do need to commit to it. No matter what that commitment looks like, how you define commitment, you have to commit to it. But you only be committed to the point where it serves you. Right? Passion projects for me are very selfish, right? They need to make you happy. They need to give you energy. At the end of the day, it needs to be a shining light in your life, not something that is a commitment that you have to honor. There's no like have to. It should be something that you want to do and something that you choose to do. And if that's daily, weekly, monthly, or just intermittently, then that's it. Like that's okay. It can be your thing. For me, like, I committed to it daily. I was like, this is what I'm going to do every single day. But you must remember, it started off as that. It started off as a 365 project. It started off as do a little thing every day for a year and see what happens. So that was my journey. If you want to do a 365 project, absolutely go and do it. But it doesn't matter. Like, you do have to be committed, but you get to define what that is.
You set your variables of commitment. Okay, and for you, what does that mean? When do you post?
post every single morning between 6 and 6:30.
Exactly. You never miss it.
I'd never miss it. I think the latest I've ever posted is 8:30.
Really? Did it make you feel anxious?
It made me feel very anxious, yeah. And it was because I had a lie-in, and I think I legitimately nothing woke me up. I woke up. I think I woke up because I realized like I hadn't posted. It was like I rolled over and went, oh, I need to post, right?
And this is 7 days a week. It's not 5.
This is 7 days a week, yeah. And now, funny enough, now I post 2 photos every single day. So I post between 6 and 6:30, and then probably 2 hours later. But I have a little 3-year-old alarm clock who's been with me pretty much the entire time I've been running the account. And so I don't set alarms. I don't have to worry about it. He wakes me up, I fetch him, and I post.
Sweet, man.
And if you want to know how committed I was, from the day he was born, I'd been running the account. So every single morning he'd wake up, I'd go get him, I'd give him a bottle, he'd lie on the bed next to me, and he'd watch me post, and he'd watch me scroll Instagram. And from about 6 months old, he could reach up like this, scroll, and double tap to like Instagram
that is
photos.
the sweetest story.
Very worrying.
Yeah, he's
It's
going to be
a little bit like
addicted to Instagram.
It's a little bit like, should your 6-month-old baby be able to scroll through Instagram and like photos? But
And now, is he still
still
on
he'll sit
Instagram?
and scroll, yeah, and he'll take photos,
Yeah.
and he's a great photographer.
Awesome. So you're going to let him post soon?
He posts to my wife's account. Most of the photos that she posts, he took on her phone.
Awesome. So that's the next passion project.
That's the next one.
Photos by babies.
Absolutely.
So
Got to get him skilled
It
up.
comes from a stay-at-home dad, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Let's break down some of the myths surrounding passion projects.
Sure. So I think the first big myth is that you need to quit your job, and I don't think that's right.
You don't?
No, you don't need to quit your job, and I actually think it's probably a bad idea to quit your job.
Okay.
Your job firstly gives you something to do during the day, which is a good thing, and it gives you money. And a lot of the time, when you're doing a passion project, you need to not be worrying about the money. Like we said earlier, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to introduce money into it. So as long as if you've got a job that takes care of the money, then it leaves you freedom to work on your passion project and to make decisions that make smart decisions for your passion project as opposed to financially bound decisions, right? So I think that's the first myth. The second myth is that someday you're going to retire. And I don't believe that. Like, I mean, I believe that my grandfather's view of what retirement looked like was you work for 40 years, you cash your last paycheck, you go home and you watch the news, right? And you read the paper and you work in the garden.
And you die.
And then eventually you die, right? And I don't believe that. I don't believe that definition of retirement is going to hold true for me. I believe that we're going to morph out of this kind of job thing, and it's going to probably go from full time to like less time to consulting to whatever. And you've got to have something that keeps you engaged. You've got to have something that keeps your mind sharp, something that challenges you, something that you're learning from, something that you get to go and experiment with and have fun with. It's almost like you almost want to treat your passion project like the mistress to your job, right? It's got to be. But it's true. Like it's got to be something that is exciting. It's got to be something that feels like, ooh, okay, cool. I get to go do this, right? And I think that will keep you challenged. That'll keep you kind of focused on what you got to do.
So now, are you committed to the mistress, or are there more mistresses along the way?
No, I think you can have as many mistresses as you want, right? You can have as many mistresses as you want. For me, I'm stuck with the one mistress, right? Like
you're absolutely committed.
It gives me absolutely enough value that I'm happy with it, right? One of the next big myths, and it's one of the things that I'm most kind of adamant about, is this theory that these people always say to you, do what you love. And I think it's like a cruel lie, right? When I hear people going, do what you love, like it makes me angry. I believe there's maybe 1% of the people on the planet who are able to combine an absolute love for doing something and make money from it, and not have making money ruin the fact that they love it. I think it's such an outlier that the 99% of the people, you can only believe that you suck if you can't accomplish that. And I think that's wrong. I think that the correct way to look at your work is do what you're good at.
Okay.
Right? And if you do what you're good at, you'll be able to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time.
Cool.
Right? And money and time are the two resources that you need for your passion project.
Yes,
right?
makes sense.
So if you dedicate your job to doing what you're really, really good at, you'll be able to make enough money and do the job in a short enough time that you have that space for your passion project, for the thing that absolutely gives you energy.
So another question from Twitter, it comes from David Shields. Is there a time limit on pursuing your passion project? Are you ever too old? You know, because a lot of the time people have the money when they're retired.
Absolutely not. If anything, I think if you are retired and if you're elderly, this is the great time to kind of start it, right? You potentially need something that's going to give you energy. You're going to need something that's going to challenge you. it's difficult because I'd like to think I'm not anywhere near that age.
You're
So I
not,
can't.
you're
So
not.
thank you. So I can't necessarily speak for older people, but the way I see it is that if you're mentally engaged, if you're mentally challenged, if you're working on something that gives you passion, that requires you to kind of step up, requires you to wake up and go, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to create something. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to solve a problem. I'm going to whatever it is, whatever your passion project is. I believe that anything that elicits passion from a person is life. That is it, right? Like life, you're alive. You feel something. Passion is an unbelievably powerful emotion to have, right? And I think it can carry you. And if you are elderly and you feel like you're missing that spark, go out there, find something that you're passionate about. If you're sitting there going, oh, I'm not really passionate about anything, get out of your house. There is so much to inspire you, right?
Yeah.
And if nothing else, literally pick a problem out of a hat in your neighborhood, in your city, in your country. Pick a problem out of the hat and go, I'm going to attempt to solve this problem, right? You can fabricate passion. You can create it.
Yes,
right?
and I think especially in developing countries, right, we have so many
There's
problems
no
to
such
solve.
thing as that person isn't a passionate person, right? They just maybe potentially right now don't have something that they're passionate about. But every person has the capacity to be passionate, and I think passion and that drive, that kind of like I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do something amazing. I think that level of energy is life. I think it can bring you to life.
Where do you think passion comes from? In closing, I think it's a beautiful question.
I think it comes from a number of different places. I don't think there's a single set formula for passion. I think passion can come from anger, it can come from hatred, it can come from revulsion, it can come, but at the same time, it can come from beauty, it can come from happiness, it can come from wanting to do good, it can come from anywhere. But passion, it potentially nothing more than a heightened state of emotion. And
So if we
in
can
whichever
channel
way.
all of those emotions into passion, then we're winning, yeah?
If you can channel all of that into a project that creates something that makes you happy, what are you waiting for?
Thank you very much for being with us today, Craig, and for being such a passionate doer. I think the entire world is certainly inspired. If you want to see more people like Craig, please visit www.heavychef.com. And remember, never trust a skinny chef.